I returned after months away, carrying all my hopes for the future in a ring box. I knelt before the woman I loved most, offering her the ring she'd always dreamed of, only to receive a cold rejection. I wasn't good enough. That very night, she posted online, "Queens, know your worth. I am a soldier, trained to face the enemy on the battlefield. But how do you fight against someone you once trusted completely?" The betrayal didn't break me. It merely sharpened my resolve, turning anger into a silent strategy. My name is Vincent Hayes, Captain, U.S. Army. In my world, everything operates according to discipline and principles. Every mission has a beginning and an end, and after 6 relentless months in a place with more dust than hope, my return mission had only one objective: Lorelei Vance. 4 years together, 4 years enduring deployments and late-night calls. She was the compass that kept me on course. I was certain she was the safe harbor, the home waiting for my return. Coming back from a 4-month international assignment, I carried the smell of gasoline, sweat, and a singular determination to propose to Lorelei. I used my entire mission bonus to buy the diamond ring she'd once sent me on Instagram with the caption, "Someday." I booked a table at her favorite upscale Italian restaurant. Everything was precisely arranged. As I knelt, the ring box opened under the warm, golden lights. I expected to see overwhelming joy, happy tears, but no. Lorelei's face didn't change. No surprise, no emotion, only a chilling stillness, as if she were calculating a complex equation. "Vincent," she began, her voice flat. "Get up." I remained in position, confused. "Lorelei?" I said, "Get up," she repeated, a hint of impatience in her tone this time. I slowly stood, a flush of embarrassment creeping in as I noticed a few couples at nearby tables watching us. "I'm sorry," she said, but her eyes weren't. "I can't. Your career doesn't offer the life I want. I need someone who can attend events with me. Someone who's always there, who goes everywhere with me, who gives me what I want. Not someone who's always absent." Every sound in the restaurant seemed to fade. Our 4 years, our promises, the long nights of waiting, all reduced by her to an equation of lifestyle and presence. I stood there, watching Lorelei turn away as if I were merely an obstacle. That weekend, she moved in with her best friend, Sabrina Thorne, but it was that night when the real blow landed. At 2 a.m., unable to sleep, I scrolled through my phone and saw her post. A radiant selfie, accompanied by the caption, "Know your worth, queens. Never settle for anything less than you deserve." Below it, Sabrina and an army of friends piled on with praise. "You go, queen. Stay strong, girl. You deserve the world." They celebrated her as if she had escaped a prison, not trampled on the heart of someone who loved her. "Less than you deserve." That phrase burrowed into my mind. For 4 years, I was there when she changed jobs, when her father fell ill, when she panicked under invisible pressures. It turned out, in her eyes, I was just less than she deserved. A cold anger began to form, not loud, but sharp. I didn't rage, didn't break things. I acted. I liked her post. Then I calmly typed a short comment below it. "Kings do too." The silence that followed was almost audible. Less than an hour later, my comment was gone. She had deleted it. But I knew our mutual friends had already seen it. The old mission was over. A new one had just begun. The new mission had no map, no directives. The enemy was memories and the silence in the empty apartment. Lorelei had taken the photos, the decorations, but she left behind something heavier. The void. I am a soldier. When facing the enemy, we don't fall apart. We regroup, assess, and adapt. I threw myself into discipline, the only thing I truly knew. 6 a.m. at the gym. The ache in my muscles became a familiar companion. Afternoons at the firing range, focusing on the target erased all other thoughts. I was heartbroken, of course. But that pain turned into fuel. Each lift, each bullet in the bullseye, was a step away from the shadow she left behind. Things might have continued that way if Colonel Miller hadn't called me into his office. He had a way of seeing right through people. "Hayes," he said. You're doing a good job keeping your body busy. But your mind needs another mission. Get out there. Reconnect with the world we protect. He suggested I volunteer at the local hospital. I reluctantly agreed, and that's where I met Eliza Cole. I first saw her amidst the organized chaos of the emergency room, a multi-car pileup on the freeway. Beeping machines, shouts, the clang of metal. In the eye of that storm, Eliza moved with astonishing calm, her brown hair neatly pulled back, her voice calmly giving orders to other nurses, her hands steady as she tended to wounds. No fuss, no seeking attention, just absolute focus on the task at hand. I only did odd jobs, pushing gurneys, fetching supplies, keeping pathways clear. No one paid me much attention, and I didn't need them to. But Eliza was different. When things quieted down, she approached me, her face smudged with sweat, but her clear eyes looked directly into mine. Thank you, she said simply. You've been a big help. That was all. But in a world where I had just been deemed less than worthy, that genuine thank you carried its own weight. The volunteer shifts continued. We started having short conversations during breaks, usually by the vending machine in the hospital cafeteria. I asked her how she could get used to seeing such terrible things every day. Eliza shrugged, looking into her coffee cup. I don't get used to it. I just learn to deal with it, because if you don't, who will? It's a mission. She understood. She understood mission, sacrifice, in a way Lorelei never could. To Eliza, worth wasn't measured in social media likes, but in saving a life. Coffee breaks became a routine. We talked about everything but Lorelei. Eliza never asked, and I never told. She didn't see me as a heartbroken soldier needing to be mended. She saw me as a person. I didn't realize the shift until one evening, driving away from the hospital. I noticed I wasn't thinking about what I'd lost anymore. Instead, I was smiling, thinking about my recent conversation with Eliza. For the first time in months, I felt peace. Not the empty peace of an unpeopled apartment, but the peace that comes from a genuine connection. Something no camera or filter could capture. My relationship with Eliza wasn't a storm. It was like finding a safe and stable foxhole in the middle of a firefight. No complex tactics, no objectives to conquer. Just trust built, day by day. 6 months flew by like a furlough. One afternoon we sat by the lake, watching the sunset paint the water red. Eliza rested her head on my shoulder, and we stayed in silence for a long time. Then she whispered, her voice melting into the air, "This is enough. A quiet place. Someone to be silent with." Oh, that sentence, it wasn't a suggestion. It was a truth. It was like a final command that erased any lingering doubts in my head. With Lorelei, everything was always more. A fancier dinner, a bigger ring, a more glamorous life. With Eliza, happiness was simply enough. I turned to look at her, slowly. Eliza. She looked up, her clear eyes reflecting the sunset. What is it? Marry me. No ring, no kneeling. Just a real question and an even realer answer. She wasn't stunned, didn't cover her mouth in surprise. She just looked straight into my eyes, and a radiant smile slowly bloomed on her face. Yes, she said, a soft smile on her lips, her eyes sparkling. That night, I posted a single photo on social media. It was just a shot of our hands intertwined, Eliza wearing a simple silver ring we'd chosen together the next day. The caption had just a few words. My peace. My phone started buzzing. Congratulations from comrades, family, true friends. It felt like a release. But that peace didn't last. 11:43 p.m. A strange number called. Vincent. How could you? That voice. I still recognized it, but this time it lacked the cold, calculating tone. It trembled with something I couldn't immediately name. Panic. Lorelei, what's wrong? I replied, my voice even. Are you serious? That post? Is it real? It's real. 6 months, Vincent. 6 months. Her voice rose, indignation starting to overshadow the panic. 6 months and you're engaged to that ordinary nurse? Her name is Eliza. I corrected, keeping my voice perfectly steady. And we're very happy. My calm seemed to ignite her. Lorelei lost control. Happy? What do you know about happy? 4 years, Vincent. 4 years of us, thrown away in 6 months? How could you? I'm not the one who threw it away, Lorelei. Silence. I heard her gasp on the other end, as if she was struggling for words. In her anger, she blurted out, I can't believe it. Her voice broke, half angry, half resentful. I thought you'd wait. I thought you'd realize your mistake and come back. So that was it. Everything suddenly became clear. She wasn't calling out of heartbreak. She was calling because she'd lost control. Her backup plan had just independently moved on. I said nothing more. I just listened in silence to the raw truth in her breathing. Reconnaissance mission complete. I had the intel I needed. Wait? I finally spoke, my voice cold and sharp as a blade. Wait for what, Lorelei? There was a choked sob on the other end. Not a sob of sadness, but of anger, of a shattered plan. I needed time, she stammered, trying to regain her composure. Sabrina kept talking about all the people she met. The lawyers, the investors. She said I was too young to settle down with my first serious boyfriend. I almost laughed. A dry, humorless laugh. So I was a test? A benchmark for you to compare others to? No. She quickly denied. It wasn't like that. I just wanted to be sure. I thought I'd try dating for about a year to get more experience. Then I'd come back. And by then I'd know for sure you were the right choice. What a perfect plan. A plan in which I, Vincent Hayes, was merely a safe option, a harbor for her to return to after sailing the open seas and realizing it was all storms out there. You rejected my proposal, I said slowly, enunciating each word. In front of so many people, humiliating me. And then you expected me to sit quietly at home, counting the days until you were sure. I didn't think you'd see that post. She quickly explained, a clumsy lie. We have over 100 mutual friends on there, Lorelei. What were you thinking? Her voice shifted to defensiveness. You don't understand the pressure women face. Sabrina showed me so many articles about women who regretted marrying their first love. I didn't want to resent you later. So, instead of resenting me, I countered. My calm now ice cold. You chose to humiliate me, and expected me to patiently wait while you tried your luck with other men. It wasn't like that, she yelled. I barely dated anyone. Barely. I seized on the word. A chink in her defensive armor. So you did, didn't you? Silence. A guilty silence. Then she began to rant, her voice bitter. It turned out, Queen Lorelei's upgrade journey hadn't been smooth. The lawyer only wanted to hook up. The investor turned out to be a scammer with a flashy Instagram account but was actually living in his parents' basement. The suitable men Sabrina introduced all had their own issues. I realized very quickly, she said, her voice softer, trying to sound pitiful, that what we had was very special. I was going to reach out after a year, to make it seem like I'd matured and was ready. End of set. That or he's on. Arses, too low, miss. Wars, that, E2 eri. Ready for what? For me to propose to you again, and we'd live happily ever after based on a lie? It wasn't a lie. I really did mature. No, I interrupted, my voice unforgiving. You just learned that your plan A failed, and you wanted to revert to plan B. Too bad for you. This plan B found someone who considers him her only plan A. You're making a huge mistake, Vincent, she hissed, the pity gone, replaced by venom. She doesn't know anything about you. You're right. She doesn't know about a Vincent who always had to shrink himself to please others. She only knows a Vincent who is himself. And I like this version better. I heard her take a deep breath, preparing for another shouting match. But I had enough information. Goodbye, Lorelei. I hung up, cutting off whatever bitter words she was about to unleash. The battlefield had been defined. And I knew. This was just the first skirmish. I thought that call was the end. It turned out I was wrong. It was just the signal for a bigger plan. Lorelai wasn't alone. She brought more people into the fray. First was Sabrina Thorne, Lorelai's trusted aide. She didn't contact me. She targeted Eliza directly. Eliza was at my place that night when she received an Instagram message from a strange account. She handed me her phone. The message was meticulously crafted, every word dripping with venom disguised as concern. Hi, I'm a friend of Vincent's. I just wanted to message you woman to woman. I think you should know a few things about your fiancé. He's clearly using you as a rebound. He was obsessed with Lorelai. Pursued her for years. When she said she needed more time, he nearly went crazy. Now he's love-bombing you to make Lorelai jealous. Don't fall for it. You seem like a good girl and you deserve better than to be someone's revenge tool. I looked at Eliza. She finished reading, looked up at me, and laughed. A clear, unburdened laugh. Revenge tool? She said. I didn't realize I had such high tactical value. Then she picked up her phone and calmly typed a reply. Thank you for your concern, but I'm curious why you're more interested in my relationship than your friend's dating life. Heard those blind dates haven't been going so well? As soon as the message was sent, Sabrina's account blocked Eliza instantly. Next came the Flying Monkeys' mutual friends who suddenly felt responsible for checking in on me. Reese, whom I hadn't spoken to in months, texted, Hey man, heard you're engaged. Pretty fast, huh? You sure you're not rushing things? Gavin, my college roommate. Dude, Lorelai's really broken up about this. Maybe you guys should talk it out. Even one of my cousins called. Hey Vin, Lorelai just called me. She's worried you're making impulsive decisions. Maybe slow down a bit. It was ridiculous. For half a year I went through everything alone, and none of them checked in. Now that I was happy, they suddenly cared about my mental health. Just as I expected, Lorelai called back from a different number. This time, she wasn't panicking. She adopted the tone of a condescending diplomat. Vincent, we need to talk about this like adults. We really don't, I replied. You're clearly hurt and acting impulsively. I understand, but don't let your ego destroy what we had. What we had? I cut her off, my voice losing its usual calm, dropping a few degrees colder. We had a relationship where you were clearly shopping for an upgrade while keeping me as a backup. We had 4 years that I thought we were building together. While you were waiting for something better, that thing is destroyed, Lorelai. You destroyed it. I made a mistake. Everyone makes mistakes. Your mistake was thinking I'd sit around waiting while you checked if you could do better. My mistake was proposing to someone who already had one foot out the door. So you're marrying Eliza just out of spite? She shifted her attack. I'm marrying Eliza because she looked at me and thought, yes, it's him. He's the only one. No doubt. No. Let me see what else is out there. Just, yes. She changed tactics again, her voice softening, trying to evoke old memories. What about when I was there for you, when you were studying for exams? When your mom was sick? I was there. Yes, and I was there when your dad had surgery. When you changed jobs, when you had anxiety that kept you up at night. That's what partners do for each other. Lorelai. But it doesn't mean you own my future. You know, Vincent, this isn't you. You don't act this fast. You always analyze everything. Perhaps, I said. And this was the last truth I would give her. That's because I spent 4 years analyzing how to make you happy, instead of asking myself if I was happy. Silence. A heavy silence. You weren't happy? She asked, her voice barely a whisper. I was happy enough. But enough wasn't enough anymore. I hung up for the second time. This time, I knew the battle wouldn't end with calls or texts. It was time to finish it. Once and for all, I knew Lorelai wouldn't stop. People like her never accept defeat. But I didn't care, because now I had my own happiness. But one evening I received a message from an old comrade, a cybersecurity expert I'd worked with. Hey Vin, congrats man. Seriously happy for you. Then another line. Good thing you got out of that early. A few months ago I saw Lorelai's profile on a dating app. Thought you two had broken up ages ago. I froze. A cold sensation ran down my spine. He sent a screenshot. Clearly, no mistaking it. The profile was created 2 months before the night I knelt and proposed. Her bio appeared before my eyes like a blade, seeking a man with vision and a compatible lifestyle. No time for anything mediocre. Mediocre. That word again. But what truly stunned me were the chats my comrade had recovered from an old security vulnerability in the app. To a guy who called himself an investor, she wrote, "My current relationship is pretty boring. He's a good guy, but lacks ambition. I'm ready for a big change." To another, when asked why she wasn't single yet, she replied, "I'm waiting for the right moment to end things smoothly. He's a military guy, very kind. I don't want to hurt him." The hypocrisy made my stomach churn. She wasn't worried about hurting me. She was only worried about how she looked to others. And then, the last straw, my phone vibrated. Another message from an unknown number. It was Lorelei. "I've thought a lot. I'm ready to forgive your impulsiveness if we can start over. I understand that you need to feel appreciated, and I accept my share of the blame." She was ready to forgive me. The cold anger within me had now reached freezing point. No emotion left, only objective. I executed a series of decisive and precise actions. 1. Screenshot Lorelei's message. 2. Place it next to the screenshot of her chat about being ready for a big change. For the first time in months, I wrote a public post on social media. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. Grateful for the lessons, and even more grateful for the future ahead. Oh, and a little tip. If you're going to play both sides, make sure you don't leave receipts everywhere. I didn't tag her. I didn't need to. I tagged Eliza at the end of the post, with a single line just for her, the only one who mattered now. "Thank you for choosing me first and only. Forever." I hit post. Then, I turned off my phone notifications and placed it face down on the table. The bomb had been dropped. Now, just to wait for it to explode. I didn't have to wait long. Less than 10 minutes later, my phone started vibrating like a seismic alarm, not from social media notifications, but from direct calls and messages. I let it be. Eliza was sitting with me. She had seen the post before I hit the button. She just placed her hand on mine, a silent gesture of absolute support. The first reactions came from mutual friends. "Dude, I'm so sorry. I had no idea." A text from Reese. "Damn, Vin. She told us a completely different story. That you proposed out of nowhere and pressured her." Gavin messaged. "My post didn't accuse anyone. It simply presented the evidence. No further comment needed." The truth spoke for itself. In group chats, Lorelei was cornered. Questions, constant question marks poured down. She began to panic. I knew this kind of reaction well. People truly show their nature when they lose control. She posted a series of stories. White text on a black background, talking about manipulation, being set up, invasion of privacy. She tried to make herself the victim, a classic tactic, but she made a huge mistake. In her panic, she started looking for someone to blame. In a private group chat with her closest friends, she typed, "Sabrina, this is your fault too. You're the one who pushed me. You're the one who made that stupid spreadsheet." "Spreadsheet?" I asked Eliza when we read the forwarded message. "There was a spreadsheet?" It turned out, it was even worse. Sabrina Thorne, seeing herself about to be thrown under the bus by her best friend to save herself, erupted in anger. Cornered and feeling betrayed, Sabrina decided to burn the house down. She didn't just defend herself, she counterattacked with weapons of mass destruction. Right in that group chat, Sabrina replied, "My fault? You want to talk about faults, Lorelei? Fine." An Excel file was uploaded. Right into the group. The file leaked within minutes. Someone sent it to me. I opened it with Eliza. The spreadsheet ranked potential candidates. Name, profession, income, pros, cons, a detailed cold plan, like an investment report. At the bottom, a note. If no one else, Vincent equals safe option. Sabrina concluded with a line. "This was your plan. by the way. I'm done lying to protect a friend who's willing to dump all the blame on others. Now I understood everything. This wasn't an impulsive decision. This was a calculated campaign. I wasn't a lover. I was an unprofitable investment. A safe stock, with no growth potential. It took no more than 10 minutes for screenshots of the spreadsheet to spread throughout their friend network. Now, Lorelei was exposed not only as a deceitful lover, but also as a terrible, calculating friend, willing to betray even her closest confidant. She was completely isolated. In a final act of desperation, she drove to the military base. I received a call from security. "Captain Hayes, there's a Miss Lorelei Vance here demanding to see you. She says it's an emergency." I calmly replied, "Is she injured or in life? Threatening danger, Sergeant?" "No, Captain. She seems angry. Then it's not an emergency. Request her to leave the premises. If she refuses, follow protocol." She left, but not before causing a scene at the gate, screaming about being treated unfairly. A sad spectacle for a self-written tragicomedy. A few days after everything collapsed, I received a long email from Lorelei. Nearly 3 pages. She vented her anger, blaming me for destroying her reputation. She called Eliza a settling option, and ended with a challenge. "You'll see what you gave up." I read it all. No anger, no schadenfreude. Just deleted it. No reply was worthy of someone who had single-handedly incinerated everything. Meanwhile, my life moved in a completely different direction. Eliza and I had a small wedding. Just family and close friends. No extravagance. No showing off. We exchanged rings in front of the people who truly mattered, then laughed when everyone cried tears of joy. Every morning, I wake up next to her and know clearly. This is the peace I always dreamed of. No more games. No more comparisons or calculations. Just respect, companionship, and a love that doesn't need to be proven by any glamour. And Lorelei? All I hear are fragmented rumors. She closed all her social media accounts, disappeared from old friend groups, and moved to another city to start over. I don't care anymore. Each person is responsible for the path they choose. I tell this story not to harbor resentment, but as a reminder, a person's true worth isn't in reputation, money, or shiny exteriors. It's in sincerity, in how you treat others when no one is watching. And if there's one last thing I want to leave behind, it's this: know your own worth, and never let anyone else value you less.